Yo, what's up, it's your boy KSI with a cheat ABT. The boys finale was not great. I really don't think so. Go figure, I actually am not really happy with it at all. And I hate to say that because I used to really like the show, and people are gonna think that I'm hating, but I really don't care. I guess it's my fault for having standards for the multi-billionaire, trillionaire, fucking gazillionaire company and its writers. Cause look, as I said in my last video, there really are only a few things that need to happen for people to be satisfied with the ending. Homelander and Butcher need to fight and they both need to die. And as predicted, the finale was serviceable enough for people to actually be deluded into thinking it saved the season. Of course, there's a large contingent of people who share my opinion that this was not great. But I'm actually seeing people defending this and saying like, holy shit, you know what, it got the job done, you're just hating. And look, I get it, a lot of people have been invested into this show for years and kind of just have to cope to make up for the time and energy that they spent. Well, let's get into it. I'm not doing like a full recount of the episode, but look, the boys grieve Frenchie, Kimiko resorts back to being non-verbal, and then like, Sage rage baits her a bit, then she uses her depowering blasts, we find out that it works. Sage becomes really stupid and normal, and then she goes to Disneyland or some shit like that. It's a really great character conclusion for the smartest person in the world who tried to cause war, but that's cool, man. Marie and Starlight have a conversation that's later revealed to be the last time we see Marie ever, you know? Her and her team are just gone, and after a little bit of shit dialogue from Emma, from Gen V, they're just out of there. Her, Jordan, and Emma are just gone. That's it. They're transporting survivors. Great. Man, Gen V was so important. Let's get to the real shit here. The boys storm the White House very easily. You know, they get a little help from Ashley because the tunnels that they were trying to get into were compromised slightly. They get in there, it's pretty simple. Once they get there, things kick off a little bit. Starlight fights the Deep. Now, she flies him out to the beach, and I'm not really sure why she did that, because we, the audience, know that the sea creatures hate him, but she doesn't know that. So as far as Starlight knew, she was just taking him to a place where he's much stronger than her, and, you know, she wouldn't have been able to siphon as much electricity there, so I don't really know what the game plan was there. She got a little lucky, but I am glad that she won that fight. We'll get back to that later. MM kills old father, you know, very weird death. I don't know, they gotta just confirm whether or not MM's a soup at this point, because in the comics he is. In this universe he's unnecessarily strong, but then we finally get what we've been waiting for. Scorched Earth. David vs Goliath, man vs God. How is Butcher gonna defeat Homelander now that he's taken V1? It's pretty fucking easily, actually. It's barely an inconvenience. They have a hand-to-hand fight and Butcher holds up pretty well. Honestly, he might have been winning that fight because he was landing more hits than Homie. Kimiko was threatening the blast. She was fake clutching, alright? And Homelander got scared. He was about to fly away. Then Ryan came in out of nowhere. Look, Butcher and Ryan take care of Homelander pretty swiftly. Like, I know it's a 2v1, but they kind of beat the shit out of him and hold him down. And, you know, after Kimiko has a schizophrenic episode where she imagines Frenchie, she hits Homelander with the blast. Butcher, Ryan, and Homelander lose their powers, and Ryan and Kimiko are knocked out, and Homelander and Butcher are there. But Homelander's pathetic. He's begging for his life. He kind of offers to blow Butcher and eat his shit. Just some weird stuff there. And Butcher beats him up a little, then hits him with the crowbar special that we've all been waiting for. I really loved the Scorched Earth fight. You know, it was big, catastrophic fight. You know, I really loved the part where they killed Homelander in 5 minutes and the Oval Office was barely destroyed. Man, that was crazy. They really did the posters justice. Things move on, the team's celebrating at their little hideout. Then Butcher finds Terror dead, and I don't really know how that happened. It just showed that Butcher walks in on Terror being dead. That's enough to make him lock in and want to release the virus. So he leaves, he heads up to Vought Tower, and nobody notices but Huey. Huey follows him there. They have a final showdown. The two of them get into a fight. Butcher kicks his ass a little bit, but then Huey shoots him, and you know, Butcher's done. After a little funeral, the team parts ways and everybody gets a happy ending, and that's it. Look, I believe that the ending is serviceable at absolute best, and honestly, if you like it, that's fine, you know. To each their own. I like the way some of these characters end. I'm not happy at all with the way we got there, but I think MM going and being a family guy is great. I think Kimiko living a life of solitude is alright. And even Ryan becoming MM's adoptive son, that's pretty cool too, because he finally has a father who has no ulterior motive. Look, once I found out that this episode was only going to be an hour, I knew it was probably going to be rushed, and I didn't expect it to be this rushed, but I didn't have high hopes. Look, Homelander and Butcher's fight by all means should have been the best fight in the entire show, but I honestly still think the Hero-gasm fight is the best in this show. It should have been bloody and exhausting for both of them, because although Homelander isn't shit without his powers, Butcher got hit pretty fucking hard before he got depowered, and he's also a former chronically ill old man, so I was expecting to see both of them gassed, giving it all they got. You know, a 12-round fight. where Butcher gets him in the end, you know what I mean? It was pretty shit, and it was over quickly, but I'm happy that we got to see Homelander in a pathetic state. His detest for humanity coming back full circle was fun to watch because he became a human himself and immediately lost all agency. The Homelander that we knew was absolutely crushed to bits, and it was just him. It was just him begging. You know, it had been brewing for a long time, and I think that it being displayed to the whole world live was cool. But I mean, Homelander never went on the massacre that we'd been expecting. It might have just been me, but I expected this episode to begin with Homelander killing people and unraveling his own public image. Instead, his public image is undone by his own self-proclamations of godhood, where he also promises a purge of non-believers. Then, of course, the pathetic begging before dying. Look, I didn't really like that. I really expected him to go on a massacre, because since the first season, they've been teasing, oh my god, Homelander's gonna snap, and then he just never did, so that's great. Sage ending the way that she did, man, that's just perfect writing right there, you know? It's awesome. The smart character who predicted absolutely nothing correctly and then just got turned into a moron, that's great. Starlight killing Deep made me happy, because I think that's absolutely what it should have been the entire time. It just didn't really make much sense. I used to really like Starlight's character, and then I feel like they just fucked her up. I don't think they really knew what to do with her character, and still don't understand why she brought him to the beach. She didn't know the sea creatures didn't fuck with him, but I thought, okay, maybe she's trying to bring him to the water and electrocute him, and then some shark will come and eat him or something like that. He had a pretty cool looking death, and it's obviously ironic the way that he died. Butcher dying was a great decision in my opinion. It's exactly what I wanted, but of course, him turning to the dark side in the end didn't really make much sense. Of course, Butcher did not deserve a happy ending. He's not the kind of guy who wins this and then he's like, oh, Yui, I'm gonna have a beer. I'm gonna crack open a cold one and go sit down with Terra. No, like, that was never gonna be him, right? Also, he doesn't deserve that. He's pretty much a super terrorist. And I really enjoyed the scene where Ryan tells him that, because Ryan's like, yeah, I don't want to start a life over with you. That was pretty good. I don't know how Terra exactly died, but we just follow Butcher into his room, but that was enough to send Butcher over the edge. It's really stupid, and it literally goes with the flick of a switch. It wasn't built up that well over the season because he was always tiptoeing. He was going from one side to the other of being good, being bad. Maybe he's in between, maybe morally gray. Nobody knows, because I don't think the writers knew. Huey and Annie getting their happy ending was cool. They own a video store and Annie remains a hero while also being pregnant. That was cool. I swear they named the child after Huey's dead ex-girlfriend, Robin. That's a bit odd, but that's cool, I guess. Look, I just think the ending is pretty safe. It does what it needs to do. Homelander and Butcher die, and the rest of the team get happy endings. I think they did not go the extra mile that they had promised at all. It's like we got scammed, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The posters had it looking like we were gonna get a crazy fucking fight. They had the picture with Homelander hovering above the White House, Butcher walking up with the crowbar and all the soups in the background. We got nothing like that. This fight was solely in the Oval Office, and that was it. I don't know if they're like pretending they had no budget, but they definitely could have carried this fight out on a greater scale. There are some other things they forgot. They never brought up MM's plot for revenge on Soldier Boy. I guess that was a one-season thing. Never brought up Soldier Boy, actually. We never see him again. Marie in the epilogue is nowhere to be found. Nobody in Gen V has any consequence. There's nothing. I'm also still not sure how Stan Edgar got back into power. Vought has not been dissolved, and although they kill Homelander, it's clearly evident that they haven't broken the cycle. Vought's still running, superheroes are still a thing, and of course, since they have Soldier Boy in a pod and more Compound V to come, I doubt that this is the last time we step into the world of the boys. The finale was like a 6, the final season was like a 4. That's pretty generous, to be honest. There are some really absurd parts. The cast and crew, shout out to them. They're still working with what they got. I like seeing the pictures of behind the scenes with the crew, because you know what, it's still a valiant effort, and across 5 seasons they made some pretty big moments. Anthony Starr, Carl Urban, Jack Quaid, everybody, they're all putting in a great shift, and they undeniably left a huge mark on pop culture. Cool effort, cool show, rough final 2 seasons, and look, although I'm extremely disappointed, I can acknowledge this is one of the biggest shows potentially of all time. It came at an extremely important time as well with its commentary. But yeah, I don't think this finale is what Clara would have wanted, but she would have wanted you to like and subscribe, because if you don't, you get 27.5 years of bad luck as well as testicular torsion. But yeah, that's pretty much it.